Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, Transformers fans everywhere, welcome back. LPS, Last Prime Speculator, here to bring you another speculation as always. Today we're going to focus on this new series I'm doing called the Redemption series. These are plots, events, characters, story events that were never addressed in Transformers The Last Night. These are the stories that I believe that I was expecting personally for them to touch on in Transformers The Last Night. They unfortunately did it. That's why we created this Redemption series, because we touch on that stuff. Today's focus is on Bumblebee. We're going to focus on Bumblebee's growth throughout this live-action universe, and we're also going to touch at the very end of Transformers The Last Night and possibly the Bumblebee spinoff, where I'm basically going to give you a couple speculations throughout these live-action universes where I hope are addressed in this new Bumblebee spinoff. If you're a fan of Transformers, we dig deep in the lore of Transformers. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, guys. Let's get right to it. So, we started out in Transformers 1 in 2007. Bumblebee was a 1970 Camaro, but the story was so significant of why this movie was so popular and what made Bumblebee such a fan favorite. The story plot itself was great. Boy meets car, car turns out to be Transformer, right? He learns about his human origins. I'm talking about Sam Witwicky and Archibald Witwicky, and that was the connection that brought us together from Transformers, the first one, right? Now, you gotta think about it this way, is that Bumblebee was basically purchased from that D lot from Bernie Mac, God rest his soul, from the B lot, and we saw a glimpse of the old Camaro. What's really cool though is we saw that old Volkswagen. Bumblebee was a Volkswagen back in G1. I believe that could be some future significance of Bumblebee spinoff. They might actually go back to that route where that might be the end of where Bumblebee actually comes. But we'll stick with Transformers The Last Night. I'm sorry, the first one. Now, Sam meets Michaela, right? She basically looks at Sam as this little average dork, but this dork has a significant connection to the Transformers live-action universe. We learn in the movie that Bumblebee was the guardian of Sam Witwicky. Basically, Bumblebee was responsible for defending a human, and a bond was forged between human and Cybertronian in Transformers, the first movie, back in 2007, right? Now, this is where everything really got messed up, okay? We also found out in Transformers, the first one, we learned about Sector 7. We learned about their origins, their history. We learned about the President Hoover and what he was trying to do. Basically, when Megatron crash landed on Earth is when Sector 7 was originally formed. Now, Bumblebee ends up getting captured in this, right? And they were planning on doing experiments. Sector 7 was a big part of the focus of the first movie. They were planning on going to use his Cybertronian technology, I'm assuming, to make the human technology that much more advanced, what they would secretly say, to hide from any ancient race. We also come to find out Megatron is there, being held captive, and NDB1 or something like that, but we know it was Megatron that was actually being held there. The other thing that people always forget, which I thought they were going to touch on this, and I'm going to basically speculate at the end, is also the Allspark. The cube was in Sector 7. That's why the Hoover Dam was being held. One, to protect the Cybertronian technology of Megatron, but mainly to protect the cube. One, I'm assuming for the human race, to perfect their own technology, and like they said, to hide from any alien species being able to locate this. But Bumblebee's significance in Transformers 1 was the guardian, a protector. He was here to risk his life at all costs to protect a human. Then, once the protection comes and he actually gets released from Sector 7, we see what he does with the cube, where he transforms the big Allspark and makes it into a tiny little cube. Hold that thought. Now, let's move on to Transformers 2. In Transformers 2, we learn the focus of the Fallen, the Primes. Now here's what's really significant. Again, I'm going to touch all this at the very end. In Transformers 2, Bumblebee learns of the origins of the Primes, these 7 Primes. He learns it with Jetfire. Him and Sam, Michaela, and Agent Simmons meet up in Egypt, and Jetfire ends up educating the lore of the Primes in the language of the Primes, the history of the origins of the Fallen too. The Primes came down to Earth, and apparently from Jetfire's story, which he explained to all of them, is that they would travel in these galaxies looking to store energon, and they would use the sun harvest to drain the energy from the sun to basically used for Energon, which is the lifeblood of the Transformers. But they had one rule: they would never destroy a planet with life. That was the Prime's rule. Once we learned the Fallen, right? When Bumblebee went to search for the Matrix of Leadership, right, to restore Optimus, he learned about the history and the knowledge of the Primes. I feel this is very significant because we are witnessing growth from Bumblebee. Think about inheriting the wisdom and the knowledge of the Primes, your ancestors, the ones that how he looks at Optimus, being able to inherit that knowledge to become what he already is as a warrior, but then you gain that wisdom. That's a big thing for Bumblebee to be able to do for these future films, is that he is inheriting something he probably shouldn't without inheriting the Matrix leadership itself, as he said, inheriting the wisdom of the Primes, right? We all know the result. Him and Sam ended up finding and locating the Matrix of leadership and restoring Optimus Prime. But that whole journey, I feel, should have been addressed, right? Again, hold that thought. Now, Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon, we kind of know what happens and everything, but here's the one thing that was, again, not addressed in Transformers the last night, right? Was Nest. Bumblebee is no longer working for Sam. He's not sitting in the garage and everything. He still loves Sam and everything, but he's fully committed to the Team Nest in Dark of the Moon, where, if you're not familiar with Nest, it's a special group of United States, pretty much UK, the whole allies pretty much, that hunt around Decepticon foes. And also in this movie, it's forget about in the very beginning, where I think it's Saudi Arabia, where they stop a nuclear plant. So basically they are in a way influencing Earth and us to keep the peace in a way. And Bumblebee is now doing these special missions, these Black Ops missions, to basically protect human from destroying itself, or possibly for what's to come with them, right? They do these special missions, but the bond with Lennox and Nest was a big deal in Dark of the Moon, right? That's where the connection was, is that the Autobots go so back with Nest and Lennox in particular. And don't forget about Epps, man. We got to get him back too. Stay tuned. I got a G.I. Joe theory coming with Epps and Lennox and all them later down the road. We'll get to that. But that was the main focus. And then we know Battle of Chicago. The Battle of Chicago resulted into Transformers 4, right? Now, in Transformers 4, this is what I thought was the original soft reboot, okay? We know what happens after Dark of the Moon. The humans and Transformers are at war, right? We see Kate Yeager driving down in Texas, and we see Remembering Chicago. So they're still reflecting that the bittersweet feeling is still there. Humans and Transformers at war. I'm not sure if you remember the posters, but they had a picture of Bumblebee showing, I think it was Alien, or they had a picture of Optimus Prime. Call, report alien activity. The humans are at war, and Nest is done. So that bond with Lennox, Epps, they're no longer there. It's Cemetery Wind is being run by Harold Allinger, and they're hunting Transformers, particularly to get Optimus. Here's where it was very, very, very interesting for me, right? Is that B, while Optimus is hiding, and he sent the call to his fellow Autobots, Ratchet revealed that before he was being slaughtered that we are under attack, please stay away from humans, hide, pretty much. Well, when Optimus returns, is that Bumblebee is leading the Autobots, right? A thing that I did not feel was addressed, and I feel is always getting overlooked, and it was touched on last night, is the question of leadership. The question of leadership for Bumblebee as a leader, okay? If you recall, when they end up meeting an Autobot reunion, Drift is insulting Bumblebee as a leader, right? There was also some comics that Bumblebee was bittersweet about Optimus being gone, deserting them, and he was a little pissed off at the time in Transformers 4. Read some of the movie comics, and they kind of get into that, where his leadership is being questioned. He is being compared to Optimus Prime. You never can be compared to Optimus Prime. Bumblebee is a scout that is now one of his highest ranking lieutenants, and also basically his best friend. But imagine that guilt and being insulted, not knowing that your leader Optimus Prime is gone, and you're being questioned and being compared to what I believe is the prophesized 13. That is Optimus Prime, the Warrior King, the last Prime, the one to unite the universe under his leadership. And that's how Bumblebee feels about Optimus, right? Now, throughout all these, he got a new transformation. He had a new alt mode, right? He had a more aggressive look. We know that the KSI technology, they basically talked about Bumblebee, they made Stinger better. That also brought aggression to Bumblebee. The guilt of Sam being disappeared. We don't know what happened to Sam. That is also could affect his little new transformation. He looked more angry, like he had more passion, more I wouldn't say hatred, but you get what I'm trying to say in Transformers Age of Extinction, right? The whole vibe with humans versus Transformers has completely changed, and Bumblebee would take it down to the last bullet to defend a human. He's always been known to make friends with humans before even any of the Transformers did. That's one of his greatest attributes is his personality, his soul, right? Now, they also, we learned about the night ship as well, okay? Now this is where I'm going to try to kind of tie in all this Transformers live action lore we kind of touched about. Is that during World War II, okay, Bumblebee was like Dark of the Moon, influencing human events at this time, right? Basically interfering with human connections to change the history of our time as human beings on Earth. We educate and we learn to come to find out that Bumblebee was not always a nice Autobot that we love, the one that we think of, oh, Bumblebee, right? The cute, fearless, heroic, puppy dog eyes. We learned that Bumblebee was ruthless from Sir Edward Burton. Him and Hot Rod apparently came and basically changed the course of history, and what I'm assuming they didn't touch on, I think they were a big cause of what happened to Adolf Hitler with that little watch. But basically they come in and they slaughtered the Nazis, right? And Sir Edward talked about how vicious he was back in his time, which you can't remember, right? Now, what I think what he was meant is why he can't remember is because I truly believe, and this is my speculation, right, is that this was about redemption. This movie was a focus on good versus evil. To think of redemption as guilt, resurrection, absolution, forgiveness. That is, redemption is such a powerful word, and that's what I thought this movie was focusing on about. I'm also thinking, to touch on the World War II part, is that Bumblebee does not remember anything about this raid, about Hot Rod, any of it. He does not remember affecting the time here on Earth. He probably only remembers the time which we knew, which was Sam Witwicky. So what I think happened is that what they should have addressed, and what I personally thought, is that you guys remember the Allspark, the cube, right? When Bumblebee touched that cube, I'm always thought that if they were touching of possibly Quintessence and the Quintessence, that what if the cube was the 1A of the Matrix, as in the Matrix of creation, or the Matrix of leadership was created before the cube, and the Quintessence created the Allspark. In the comics, and also you can look it up in TF Wiki, during World War II, Bumblebee and Hot Rod were on Earth to find the Allspark. Now, how did they get this intelligence? I'll save that for another speculation down the road, but that was the reason of purpose, and that's why they formed and sided with the Allies during World War II. Maybe the Nazis went to the other side. We saw Starscream and the Nazis leading the charge, which was awesome. I wish they would have touched on it, they never did. But he became part of the sides with the Allies, right? He was on a secret mission with Hot Rod to, in a way, change the course of history, if you think about it. But when he touched that cube, I feel that's what he remembered. Think about Transformers Age of Extinction as well. Wiping your slate clean, starting fresh. Erase the memory of Bumblebee to protect yourself as the creators. If the Allspark, aka the cube, was created, Bumblebee, by touching that, what if he got infected as well, right? They erased his memory, wiped his stuff clean, and got infected by touching that to protect the human race. Humans and Transformers are at war. That would explain redemption as well. The main focus of my last video, which was the Optimus Prime 3 posters, which I'll leave the link, check it out at the end of the movie, it'll be in the link up top, or I'll leave it below, where I believe that this movie was focused about, again, good versus evil. I thought this was Unicron and Primus, right? Now, the reason why I'm connecting it with also this whole Redemption series and the posters I showed with Optimus Prime and Dragonstorm and stuff is that I really thought that, again, this was Primus versus Unicron. The endgame versus the creator god Transformer, Primus and Unicron. You know what I'm saying? Where the main thing that was never addressed in this movie was when Bumblebee was able to dispatch himself, okay? I originally thought this was going to be their idea of a headmaster, okay? But he was able to detach it, to see his head, and he could put himself back together. I was thinking this was his upgrade for inheriting something from another Prime, okay? We knew there was going to be a new Prime in this movie. We find out it's Nemesis Prime and Quintessa, the great deceiver. She calls herself the Prime of Life, right? Well, the hammer that Bumblebee inherited, if you're familiar with Transformers lore, I think we all thought was the forge of Solus Prime. I thought Quintessa was going to be the evil version, and then Solus Prime would be Solus Prime. So the one that was created off of trickery from the betrayal of Liege Maximo is Quintessa. She's the maker. She can also have the good side. So she would literally create her evil side and then the good side. Now the Night Ship in Transformers Age of Extinction. I was really hoping that Bumblebee actually found the old Autobot ship, which is the Night Ship. And that when he went in this Night Ship, it was actually crash landed in the ocean. And just like Optimus, when he accepted his redemption, when Bumblebee goes to get his hammer, get the Forge of Solus, that's where he meets Solus. Now, Optimus is being guided by Primus, the light, the blue light from the last video I posted with his Trials of Redemption. Solus Prime is helping Bumblebee. Now, hear me out. Primus and Solus Prime, after we know Primus created Cybertron. After the Battle of the 13 and Solus Prime actually died, she became also one with the core of planet. So she became the actual lifeblood of the Transform. When she died, her and Primus created as one, and Cybertron's here, and she became the actual bloodline and pulse of Cybertron, which helped create the first race of Transformers after the 13, right? Where they are connected. Solus and Cybertron and Primus are connected. Primus and Cybertron, Solus, that is the connection of the Prime, which creates the Transformers we love today. Now, what I'm getting at with this is that the only connection to save Optimus and save Earth and also be saved himself is for him to meet Solus Prime, to meet the other half of Cybertron to stop Optimus. You gotta think, Optimus and Bumblebee have been together forever, right? That the only way to be defeated of Nemesis Prime from this great evil, this Trials of Redemption, is Bumblebee needs to accept his Trials of Redemption, go through his guilt with Sam, with all the failures he's had before, with Cade going on right now, with accepting the fact that he's going to have to fight Nemesis Prime, who actually is Optimus. And the only way to defeat Nemesis Prime is that some conversation, which I thought was going to happen, Solus convinces him, Bumblebee, you're going to have to kill Optimus to save Earth. And I thought originally, once he made that exception, knowing that what was destined for him, that this was the only way to defeat the infection of Quintessa, was for him to accept possibly killing his leader and his father figure. And you got to look at it from his point of spec of view, if you really want to get deeper too in this, is that Bumblebee has always questioned his leadership, has always talked about never being as good as Optimus, never being able to do this. He's Drift insults him, Crosshair insults him. That's got to take a wear on the soul. And then he's being told the only way to save it is you have to kill Optimus Prime. Now, where I'm getting at with the Solus Prime and Primus connection is we saw the Toys R Us poster. We saw there's rumors going around that, we thought Bumblebee's going to die because we see Optimus inherit this yellow. I was really thinking that he was given the Forge of Solus to, in a way, do a sacrifice himself to get Optimus through this. That he was literally going to inherit some sort of Cybertronian power as the maker from Solus to be able to, for Optimus to absorb, and basically when he rips up the wings, he inherits Bumblebee's good of Solus, and maybe in a way becomes one in the same. You know what I'm saying? Where that would be the only way for them to defeat the evil, and that's how he got his upgrade from the Forge of Solus. That was basically his sacrifice, right? And also it would have to be through his guilt to get over his fears and question his own leadership, that maybe if this doesn't work, are you willing to die for your leader, for what you believe in, which is the prophesized 13th Prime, which we know Bumblebee accepts the challenge at all cost. He accepts that he has to fight Optimus Prime, or with Nemesis Prime. Kate Yeager lets him know, B, make sure you go back to the Dark Ages, because this is what it's going to take for you to beat Optimus Prime, your leader, your hero, our hero. This is bigger than all of us. And this is his own redemption as well too, right? We know Bumblebee is brave, loyal, fearless. He believes in freedom, and he's willing to give up his life for others. Willing to defeat Optimus Prime to save Earth. Now, where I'm getting at with all this Forge and Primus and Solus stuff is that I really originally was thinking that Bumblebee was going to be official new member of the Knights of Cybertron. I thought that Bumblebee was going to inherit the Well of Sparks from the maker, Solus Prime, and become an actual the Knights of Cybertron. The Knights of Cybertron were built directly off of the Wells of Sparks. So when Primus, the god creator of the Transformers, and Solus died, the first Transformers that were born were the Knights of Cybertron. They were there to establish order and basically set the foundations of the Transformers universe, where that's where he was going to inherit his upgrade to defeat his leader and father figure, my hero, Optimus Prime. That is a trial of redemption for himself as well, knowing what is to come of his fate. We know what happens. Bumblebee ends up speaking, and the affection and cure of Optimus Prime is actually what saved Optimus Prime from his personal redemption. So there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed that speculation, okay? So basically that's kind of where I'm going with this Bumblebee spinoff, as I believe that from Transformers 1, that's where the movie is going to end in the Bumblebee spinoff. But these were all events of Bumblebee's origins that were never addressed on. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. I tried to put a bunch together for you and do a little TF education for you. If you're not familiar with the channel, we dig deep in the lore of Transformers. To my subscribers, I love you guys so much. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button. Follow me on Twitter at Prime Speculator. Follow me on Instagram at Last Prime Speculator. Again, guys, if you're not familiar with this channel, we dig deep in the lore of Transformers. Hit that like button. Again, subscribe to this channel. I got plenty more of a redemption series coming on. TF Education. I'm going to be starting some comic books. We do toy hunts. We do it all in this community. Again, subscribers, without you, there's no LPS. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the support and enjoying my speculations. So this is LPS bringing you another redemption series. Peace.